Arsenal fans, would you start Raheem Sterling in this upcoming Champions League game tomorrow against Atalanta? Would you sell Tomiyasu in January? What do you make of the Martin Odegaard injury news in general? Just some food for thought to get this video flowing, people. Let me know your thoughts on what I've just said. Stick with me throughout. Allow me to share my screen and we'll go over everything that is currently in the news surrounding the football club that we all know and love, people. So yeah, give me 30 seconds or less, people. That's what she said. Sharing my screen. Firstly, you would have seen the boys are beginning their preparations for the game against Atalanta. I don't know why that's playing. You would have seen Calafiori is back in training, people, but there's still no Martin Odegaard. Arsenal's injury latest as Martin Odegaard absent from training, but Bukayo Saka returns. Now, on the eve of doing this video, I believe it's 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon in the United Kingdom. Mikel Arteta will actually have his press conference at 7 p.m. in which no doubt he will try and shed or be pressed to share some light on our injury crisis, which we still have. While it's courageous that we got the job done against Spurs, not that we could have rested even if all these players were fit. We need our players back. We've got 7 games in 21 days, including the recent game against Spurs. Arsenal have been boosted by the fitness of Bukayo Saka, which is music to my ears, ahead of their Champions League opener against Atalanta on Thursday. But Martin Odegaard was absent from training. Saka was forced off late in our North London derby victory against Spurs, probably with cramp. Odegaard has missed training on Wednesday as he battles to return in time for Sunday's Premier League showdown with Manchester City at the Etihad. I don't think he'll be involved. As we all know, he didn't train with the team. He sustained an ankle injury of sorts, people, while playing for Norway. Apparently, he underwent multiple scans last week and is understood to have seen a specialist this week. So he's had multiple scans, still not a specialist. To me as an ignorant fan, and we still don't know what's going on with him, is that a cause for concern? Or if I put my thinker's cap on, the club know, they're trying to, obviously every day that develops, shed something new in relation to his injury, but the club know exactly how long he's out for, and they're not really shedding any light. Calafiori, he also got injured playing for Italy, has returned to training. As you know, he wasn't in the matchday squad. I'm not too sure on that. We were without 7 first-team players for the game in the North London derby. Declan Rice is obviously able to train, can't play, but can get on playing now, people. Zinchenko, who picked up a calf injury during the international break, was missing, which means Arteta could be forced to put several youngsters on the bench on Thursday. Many people said, why are we signing another left back? This is probably why, because Timber appears to be the only fit one, give or take, with Kivior, but you've now got, Calafiori is back, but still nursing a knock. Zinchenko's out, Tomiyasu's out, Mikel Merino's a central midfielder. He's out of his shoulders out the sling, but he's still out. Odegaard, there's been no light shedded. So you'd imagine the youngsters will still be on the bench. Kieran Tierney is doing individual training, but as still not part of the first team in that regards anyways, people. So yeah, we've gone over that. Hopefully sooner rather than later, we see people fit. Now, I'm going to do a separate video again on Gyökeres. You would have seen he bagged again for Sporting Lisbon in his first Champions League game. And whether it's for club or country, he's picked up where he left off last season, continuously scoring, adding fuel to the fire that him, along with potentially Osimhen, which I don't believe, Isaac, Sesko, these are the strikers that are being linked with us. We're still linked with Jonathan David, people of Leo, as his contract runs down. I'm not involved in that, if I'm completely honest with you. I wonder if we'll spin the block, people, on Vlahovic. Apparently, the Canadian is out of contract at Lille next summer, a bit like Angel Gomez, who was sent off in the Champions League and was also linked with us. And unsurprisingly, not just of interest to Arsenal, indeed, the report claims several Serie A clubs are also keeping an eye on him, including Juventus. So could we spin the block again for Juventus, who apparently will have just a year left to run on his deal come summer of 2025. So would you take Jonathan David? Would you take Vlahovic? I'd rather Vlahovic. I don't really rate Jonathan David, if I'm completely honest with you. Does a lot of talking, hasn't gone anywhere. Zinchenko's future is subject to speculation in the recent summer window that's just gone. We were interested in signing Miguel Gutierrez in the summer. I potentially feel that was a backup option because we were linked with him forever. Had we have not signed Calafiori, you never know. Mikel Arteta does love to sign a goalkeeper or a defender, so you never know. And of course, if one of our defenders leaves, give or take, whether that's Tommy or Kivior, this could open up stuff. But I think the Gutierrez stuff to Arsenal at this moment in time is dead, if I'm completely honest with you. Apparently, Rabiot had his heart set on a Premier League move, but a lack of interest forced him into a financial sacrifice to join Marseille, which is very different because yesterday we saw that allegedly Arsenal and Man United were rejected in their pursuits of him. We don't need to waste time with that. As we know, big Gabriel Magalhaes apparently is being watched by PSG. Apparently, Saliba as well is being watched by PSG in addition to Real Madrid. We have seen talks that, yes, here he's been linked with PSG, but apparently Arsenal are in the early rounds of giving him an improved deal, which is well deserved. Real Madrid to go for Saliba in 2025. I mean, the 23-year-old is doing great. You can't, the better he plays and the more he grows in stature, it's gonna happen. I think one day he will play for Real Madrid. As long as we can achieve something with him at the club, I don't think he leaves this summer or next summer or the summer after that. But the longer we don't win major honors and he keeps getting better, the 23-year-old will have a decision to make. People, you can't turn down Real Madrid. And apparently Real Madrid are actually trying to raid the Premier League. They want Rodri, they want Trent Alexander-Arnold, who Trent they could get him for free, and they're looking at Romero of Spurs, who I think is better than Saliba. They should go for him. Don't worry about the North London derby mistake or Saliba. And I mean, they're still linked with Alphonso Davies. So if in theory they signed one of Saliba or Romero, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Rodri and Alphonso Davies on top of everything they've got, it's already crazy at Real Madrid, but it'd get even crazier, people. So yeah, we can move on with that. You can see I've got way too many tabs, people. Eddie Nketiah scored his first goal for Crystal Palace, people. So yeah, big up him. That's not really of interest to us, but big him up. Also, Reece Nelson did. Inside rates Arsenal's chances of January Osimhen deal with mid-break clause and reduced fee. I think we like Osimhen. I just think when you look at the amount of games he's played, how many times has he played 20, 30 games? How many times has he scored 20 odd goals? You throw in what his agent probably wants in commission, what he wants in terms of wages and a transfer fee. I don't think it's valuable for Arsenal. Even Chelsea, who had more money than sense since they've got new owners, people. Charles Watson said, I saw Osimhen mark his debut with an assist at the weekend. Inevitably, some Arsenal fans were quick to pounce on that and use it as a reason why the club should look to bring him during the January transfer window. I don't know the exact ins and outs, but it appears he does have a break clause in his loan agreement that could see another club land him in January for a lower fee than his original release clause from Napoli. I just don't really see it happening through in the terms of Arsenal. As I said before, I've never really been told about any Arsenal interest in Osimhen since the summer of 2022 when they eventually ended up moving for Gabriel Jesus instead. So I would be surprised if they go for him in January. I think if and when they do go for another striker, it will be a slightly different profile to the Nigerian international. And anyway, right now they're happy with Kai Havertz and what he's offering them in terms of a central striker, people. So there you have that. Apparently, according to reports, Sporting Lisbon are open to selling Gyökeres in January amid interest from Arsenal. Once again, the man can't stop scoring for club and country and did his thing in the Champions League. It was a very good finish. Not a sexy finish, but a striker's finish, an instinctive finish, people. And he's still going to be linked with Arsenal. These are the names that were linked. The Tony case is dead for now. Osimhen, I don't really rate. Isaac he's not there, obviously, but he would be the impossible dream and the number one target. I think Sesko is actually the one the club want to go for. Gyökeres, for me, ticks all the right boxes, and you must imagine he is on some sort of scouting list. We all know he's got an 86 million release clause. Can't see us doing that in January. Would Sporting Lisbon, I'm sure they want to retain the league title, go as far in the cup competitions that they're in as possible. Would it make sense to sell Gyökeres in January? Maybe Arsenal would be up for it, but this isn't a thing. But if we was offered Isaac, if there was some tangible proof that you could sign Isaac in the summer of 2025, or you sign Gyökeres in January, do you wait until the summer or do you make the move? I don't know. Arsenal are maintaining a close watch on sporting striker Gyökeres ahead of the January transfer window. I mean, we're going to have to travel over to Portugal and see him with our own eyes. Football Transfers understands. With the Gunners scouts having monitored him extensively last season, the Swedish international remains on the club's radar as a potential January signing. Our sources suggest that Gyökeres was disappointed not to secure a move to London during the summer transfer window. We understand that Sporting are open to selling the striker for substantially less than his 100 million release clause. This is despite Sporting President Federico Varandas recently expressing frustration over how he considers players weaker to Gyökeres are valued much higher than the Swede. A discussion between Gyökeres and Sporting has reportedly taken place with an agreement, apologies, between the two parties that the club's full asking price will need to be met whether in January or the summer. So very different conflicting reports. The referee has that sent off Declan Rice. You would have seen apparently the VAR audio footage. He actually didn't want to do it, but the rules are the rules. They've doubled down. Howard Webber's doubled down on it and saying sending off Declan Rice was the right decision, but they've admitted making a mistake over João Pedro. I don't know about you lot. Me, I don't care anymore. The result's gone. It is what it is. Let's look forward now. I don't agree with the standard of refereeing and officiating, but yeah. Inter Milan are apparently looking at Tomiyasu, and I think the only reason Arsenal would sell Tomiyasu is if A, he wants to leave, and two, the injury concerns persist, people. I mean, obviously, the Italian clubs know about him. He was at Bologna and whatnot. Tomiyasu is apparently available. He's a valued squad member. He is yet to play this season. He did sign improved terms. I reckon he would have got even longer terms in terms of the length of his contract had it have not been for injuries. And to be honest, Tomiyasu is a very good squad player. I wouldn't sell him unless he wants to go or it makes sense, people. So you lot let me know your thoughts. Sakura said he misses Eddie and Nketiah, Smith Rowe and Nelson, and he's backed them to shine in the Premier League, which we hope they do. He said, I'm not going to lie, I've missed them a bit, you know. Since I came into the first team, they were kind of like my big brothers with the way they welcomed me and stuff like that. So it wasn't easy to see them all go. But at the same time, I'm really happy for them because they're three top players with so much quality, and I'm sure they're going to shine in the Premier League this year. And on Raheem Sterling said, we're happy to have him here. I know the quality he has. I've played with him for England and watched him for years. I know Raz really well. I hope he can bring his special qualities to the team and help us win, which we all do. And who knows, again, would you start Raheem Sterling against Atalanta, folks? Let me know your thoughts. Moving on from that, a topic in the coming months. Fabrizio Romano has weighed in on Gabriel's situation. He said, Gabriel Magalhaes was the hero for Arsenal against Spurs at the weekend, and my fellow columnist Charles Watts discussed his performance and his future in his latest column. I can confirm more or less the same. It's something at an early stage with nothing particularly concrete so far. For sure, Arsenal want to keep all their stars, and Gabriel is one of them. It'll be a topic in the next months, but nothing's imminent, which is, that's how negotiations tend to work, people, really and truly. David Ornstein has spoken about Odegaard. It said, it looks like a significant injury, but look, we don't know. The last I heard, they didn't have full clarity from the scan still because of the extent of the swelling, but so we probably had to wait for the swelling to go down. But the extent of the swelling concerns you if you're an Arsenal fan, which it does, because, you know, 7 games in 21 days, and we're going to have to cope without Odegaard. But we can't lie to ourselves. We undoubtedly do miss him. We don't need to worry about that. That's for another stream, people. A new role, Freddie Nketiah at Crystal Palace. He won't be playing as a striker. When you watch Eddie play at Arsenal, he's played as a 9. He was very involved in the game. He's not a pivot like in basketball. He's waiting for the ball. He's so smart in finding space. He can play as a 9, as this 10. And when we switched 3 days ago to a 4-4-2 against Leicester, he can play around the striker. Big up Eddie Nketiah, man, because your manager's rating you, and we hope all the boys that left do their thing, people. We're still linked with Condé. Apparently, we're willing to spend £42 million, 50 million euros, I believe, for Condé. Really, where you've got, unless Tomiyasu leaves, but where you've got Tommy, Timber, Benjamin White, who can all play right back. And, you know, Condé can play centre half as well as right back, but it doesn't really make sense, really. If you want to see £42 million spent, surely for me, it's in midfield areas, wing wide areas, or up front, or a bit more on that, people. So I don't buy that, but there you have that. Arsenal could offload current star and try 25 million transfer bid for Serie A star this January, kind of piggy banking off Tomiyasu being linked with Inter Milan. Simultaneously, we've been linked with Inter Milan's Yannick Bizek, who we're actually going to see if he does play against Arsenal in the Champions League, people. So is it a case of a swap deal or something of that ilk? I don't know, but I don't buy too much into that, people. In relation to Fabio Vieira, who has left the football club on a temporary basis, it seems like it's quite negative surrounding his injury. Apparently, he's missed training again. He's still not kicked an official ball for Porto. So the 24-year-old's 5 problems and muscle injuries are still persisting. We wish him all the best in that regards. Arsenal, as well as Newcastle, are still linked with Leroy Sané as his contract is running down. Once again, allegedly, Tomiyasu is open to leaving in January, which I don't buy. He has slipped down the pecking order, but that's because the man isn't fit. Sané links again. And finally, you know, I love the fact that Saliba said this. He said, of course, we want to compete against Manchester City as we have done in the last 2 seasons, but we know we have to do more. As I've said, we have to compete against City, but we also have to do it against other teams because it's not just against City. If you win against them but not against others, it doesn't mean anything. So, of course, we want to win this weekend. We'll give everything to win, but it's not the end on Sunday, which is true. On himself, people, he said, I've been on the right track for both seasons, mainly last season. I'm perhaps on my way to becoming the best defender in the world. I think I'm one of the best at the moment, but to say that I have to win some titles, I think that's what I'm missing right now, which, again, piggy banking off the Real Madrid links. What if Arsenal keep getting close but not far? He doesn't win trophies. And I love the fact that he's humble, yet he's confident. He wants to be one of the best in the world, and he is on the right track. But you see, the way Saliba plays, it hasn't gone to his head. If you win titles, you're good. And if you don't, you can't say you're the best. That's what I believe. I'm one of the best in the world. So, again, Arsenal need to win trophies, boy, because maybe not this year or next year, but he's 23. He's announcing himself on the French scene. Deschamps can't not play him. He's a linchpin for Arsenal. He's now getting the respect, not just of Arsenal fans, because he's always had that, but Premier League and football fans in general. And he is right. And the same goes for several players. And also Mikel Arteta as a manager, people. So with that being said, that seems to be everything. Let me know if you'd start Raheem Sterling, what you make of Saliba's comments, how you feel about the Martin Odegaard stuff, what you feel about Gyökeres or Leroy Sané and Jonathan David and any other players we discussed. Make sure your notification bells are on and check out the rest of the other vids. God bless you all. Thank you for your support and listening. Peace.